Today's guest is KP. Joining me now, it's Kayla Palczewski out of South Prairie and Bowman County and golfing everywhere fame. First of all, Kayla, really want to appreciate your listenership that you've had so far. What was kind of your first reaction to hearing Jake Stach's rundown of all the chicken strip places a while back?
Oh, my reaction was that I was not surprised at all. That's the most Jake thing I've ever heard, so I wasn't surprised that that's how you kicked off this podcast.
I wanted to get that out of the way real fast. I knew that was something that was on your mind when you saw that episode. Yeah. So, coming up from Bowman County, what do you kind of remember the most about playing prep sports down there?
I just remember how supportive the community always was. Like, growing up, I saw a lot of successful teams play. I remember right before I went into high school, our girls basketball team played in the state championship. And then after that, it was always kind of like we always kind of had a legacy to look up to, and the community always was, ready to watch a winning team, and so it was always fun to just play with that support behind you.
I feel like a lot of the Class B area towns have that going for them. As you traveled and played against other schools and were around different areas, did you ever feel like, boy, Bowman has this over anybody, or like I feel special playing for Bowman for this reason?
Yeah, absolutely. I think any of the small towns, like South Prairie's a little bit different in that we're not like a town, but we're still a Class B school. So getting that community feel, especially as, starting our school up, is a little bit different for us. But I do definitely get that same feel when we travel to these small towns, that's for sure.
So you get a chance to play prep golf and then a little bit at MSU. What was the favorite course that you got to play throughout those years?
MSU, I would say favorite and probably one of the nicest, even though it was hard. At the time, I kind of dreaded having to go play there a lot, but now I'd like to go back, was the Classic at Madden's Resort in Minnesota. It's just a beautiful course, and it is really difficult, but I think I would enjoy it a lot more now going back to play for fun.
Do you put that as your number one course overall, or maybe another one nowadays? And also, what course would you like to play? It could be one of the more famous ones in the world.
Oh, that's a good question. Well, obviously, Augusta would probably be the one that I would like to even just visit, but getting a chance to play would be crazy. But just locally, probably my favorite course is Bully Pulpit, just because growing up, Bowman was pretty close to it, and so I still try to make a once-a-year trip to go there.
All right. So who do you put in your dream foursome then, if you're going to Bully Pulpit?
Well, I have a couple different scramble groups. I have a lot of golfing friends in the area, so it's hard because I kind of have different groups. But I think I'd have to go back to my Minot State teammates and pick Jade Teske and Danielle Foster and Kayla Palczewski.
Yeah, because that was going to be my follow-up for sure, at least judging on this summer. How unfair is it when you and Jade Teske team up at all these ladies' scrambles and you just crush everybody?
It's pretty unfair. We play a lot of golf together, and we're best friends, too. So when we pair up, it's always fun, that's for sure.
So then you also get some time in at Vardon, whether you're playing or helping out there. If you're playing in a members tournament at the Vardon, and there's 80 people in the tournament, where do you think you're finishing?
Yeah. Okay, well then that must mean it's men and women?
Sure, yeah.
Then I'd like to say, I like to be pretty confident in my game. So I'd say, I can at least probably finish in the top, 25, 30%. There's some good guys that play out there. But if it was just ladies, I for sure could win.
There you go. How fun is it where we get a chance to hang out and do the Monday golf scrambles? Because, what else is going on, huh?
Yeah, yep.
It's fantastic. So you had a different kind of perspective recently. Usually you're playing in it, but for the Laker Scramble this summer, you rode along with it. You got a chance to look at how the rest of the field was doing. And when you see the final results at an event like that, what were kind of the big takeaways that you saw in your group? And then maybe once you saw who won the championship there at Wildwood?
I was going to play in that tournament, and then I was quarantined, and I ended up getting out of quarantine a day before, so that's why they found a replacement for me. But that team, I played with Peggy Pearson and Ann Nesham and Jade Teske and we shot 16 under, one of our best rounds that we've ever played, and it was a whole field, and we were 4 girls, so we're pretty proud of ourselves and ready to dominate this DLB tournament. And I was pretty disappointed in them when they didn't, because I wasn't on their team. I'm sure they'll love to hear that. But
all right, so in that eightsome that you were riding along with, if you exclude you and Jade, who finishes number one out of the remaining 6 players?
Shoot, I don't remember who the other 6 were besides our team, or who was the other team with us.
I think you got Nesham, Peggy, Sasso was in that group, a couple more teachers.
Oh, okay. Well, I might have to. I don't know. I can't really pick between Ann and Peggy. Like, we're all a team, so I just can't pick one standout. But one of those two for sure. They're usually on my team, so I got to go with them.
All right, that's perfect. I'll let you off with that, even though they're probably never even going to listen to this. It's all good, KP. So, what you're at South Prairie right now. Tell us what you're doing there, and why did you want to become an educator?
Yeah, well, I came to Minot State and graduated with an English education degree, and South Prairie was the first place I interviewed and the first place I took. But getting myself there, too, in Bowman, I had a lot of great teachers, and I always looked up to my teachers. And I think when I was deciding on a career, there was really no other option for me. Like, they were just such great influences in my life. I liked being involved at school and sports and everything and the whole aspect of it. And I wanted to be that great influence for kids someday, too. And so South Prairie just seemed like such a good fit, and everyone was so welcoming, and I just felt like it was the place I needed to be, and I love it here. So.
What kind of impact do you think you can have on kids when it comes to teaching compared to coaching? Because you're getting after it on volleyball right now, and you're going to be doing golf right this spring.
Right, yep. Well, and I've actually transitioned a little bit. Now I'm mainly our technology coordinator, but I started out my first 3 years teaching English at South Prairie. And obviously it's just a different approach to, how you handle kids. And in the classroom and going through English, it's a lot of, just deeper understanding things and really sitting down with kids and seeing them learn new things. But I think it is very similar to coaching too when you look at it that way, that there's so much to it, and a coach really is a teacher too. I just think when it comes to a coaching level, obviously we can be a lot harder on the kids and expect a lot more of them on specific things that you maybe don't see with a kid every day in the classroom. So it's just kind of a different approach, but teachers and coaches are very similar.
I've talked to multi-sport athletes where golf is one of their sports, and you're coaching it now. So I'll ask you, how is the coaching different? Like in volleyball, you kind of have to, the momentum's all out in front of you. You got to call a timeout and kind of inspire the kids that way. Whereas golf, I don't want to say it's leisurely, but you can't see everybody nearly as much. Maybe the kids have to rely on their own mentality a lot more. And then you do get a chance to talk to them, but it's kind of a different feel. How kind of those sports compare coaching?
Yeah, and I've learned that throughout the years too, because I played volleyball, basketball, and golf. But when it got to golf season, it's always just a totally different mindset change because it is so much more individualized. Like, yes, you play as a team, but to coach golfers, it's a lot different because you really have to understand each one of their individual mental games and be able to help them out with that a lot more than working together as a team. In volleyball, sometimes it's a lot of getting kids to work together and to stay positive together as a team, whereas in golf, it's so much more individualized, which, has its benefits both ways because it puts a lot of pressure on the kid to make sure that individually, if a mistake is made, it's your fault and no one else's. So, coaching-wise, just kind of taking that individual approach each day at practice instead of such a team-based one.
Is there anything that you remember from your high school coaches that you take and used when you're coaching now?
Yeah, absolutely. I had great coaches growing up, but Gretchen Platz was one of my assistant coaches at the time, and I just remember how much she helped me with my mental game because she had played college golf at Jamestown too. And she really talked me through a lot of that, gave me some good podcasts and just mindfulness things to listen through that really helped me as I got older kind of get over some of those stressors that I had on me and pressure that I felt. And I never realized how important that would be or how much it affects me, but it really does because golf, you're just out there in the elements on your own, and so it is really hard because you have all these thoughts going through your head. I never, when I was younger, realized that was such an important aspect of it.
All right, so you've been a lot of places with these sports, and maybe something else that you've been up to nowadays, and you're talking to me here, so I'm not sure. I might challenge you for this, but do you think that given everybody that goes out to all these shows around Minot, and they're always a hit, do you consider yourself the biggest Slamabama fan around here?
Yes, absolutely. I don't think there's anyone that's gone to more shows than me, so I'll happily take that title. And I doubt there's anyone who could test me on that.
Do you like seeing them more at the fair or at the O?
The fair is kind of a different level of just, you don't really experience that anywhere else. So I guess I'd probably say the fair.
All right, because I remember I lived downtown, and before they signed everything off or whatever they had to do, they used to be at Roosters, and that was a cramped venue for them, and that was awesome to see them there.
Oh, yeah.
How about out of town?
Always a fun, sorry. Yeah.
So just how about out of town? Where have all of you been for the band?
I've traveled Quite a bit. I've gone to like shows that they play in Minnesota. I've seen them in Fargo a lot. Like pretty much all over the state. In South Dakota this summer they played like on Main Street in Spearfish. That was fun. Just being able to go different places and travel around is fun.
What do you think kind of sets them apart from like the other bands that might come here locally? Because usually the O has like their regular stables, so does the Landing and everywhere else that people play.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think like the O does a good job of getting good bands in there, and I know that Slamabama is really loyal to playing at the O, which I like too. But I think Slamabama just has like more of an overall genre set list more than most people do, and they're good at multiple genres. Like they have a female and male singer, so they can hit country, pop, rock, whatever, and they have a really good variety in there. And I just think that like musicianship wise, there's not a lot of local bands better than them.
That's awesome. I think I want to get them on here because usually they're doing they're doing Halloween and then New Year's coming up at the O.
Yeah, you should get them on here, and they're big Alabama fans too, so you can talk about some football maybe too.
There we go. Roll Tide. You can be my agent, my connection for that, KP. Really appreciate it. And hey, really appreciate your time here today, and good luck with the Royals as you guys keep developing down there. Excited to see what the next steps are for you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely.